Hey guys, as promised, we're going to discuss the seventh and ninth causes of action and compare that to Lyman's response from summary judgment. The seventh cause of action is aiding and abetting retaliation. And so it says, Miss Lively hereby repeats, we're going to skip that. So she's saying, at all times herein mentioned, Miss Lively was employed by and or providing services pursuant to a contract with defendants. It ends with us Movie LLC and its managing member Wayfair. Yeah, contract that she didn't sign and that backfired big time. Sign your contract. At all times herein mentioned, California's Fair Employment and Housing Act (FEHA) was in full force and effect and was fully binding upon the relevant defendants. Specifically, this code makes it unlawful for any person to aid, abet, incite, compel, or coerce to do any of the acts forbidden un- under this part or to attempt to do so. Defendants, actually, no longer defendants, but most of these are no longer defendants. But let's read. Defendants Nathan, Tag, Abel, Wallace, and Street Relations as individuals and entities are not Miss Lively's employer. Aided and abetted the discriminatory conduct of defendants. It ends with us Movie LLC, Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath, including but not limited to participating in the above described coordinated astroturfing campaign to discredit and bury Miss Lively. Pause. I, Over here, I think Tag is the only one that's still on the hook, and also like it ends with us Movie LLC and Wayfarer. Baldoni, Heath, Abel, Nathan, Wallace, Street Relations, gone. Not only that, but Blake Lively went and subpoenaed 107 content creators to try to prove there's astroturfing and there's like amplification and shenanigans from Street Relations and whatnot, from Tag. This astroturfing situation, my gosh, just think about the fact that Taylor Swift also blamed astroturfing for the backlash she received for the tone deaf merch that she went and sold. The lightning bolts that look very much like some German ones. We were all like, what the heck is she doing? And then she's like, oh, it's the astroturfing. Like, there was an article about that. We discussed it. And, everybody's like, oh, it's if there's backlash, is this. And this is ridiculous. The astroturfing. Blake Lively has not been able to prove that. That's the biggest uphill battle. She has blamed it on Street Relations, has blamed it on even Brian Friedman, even content creators, 107 and more, I'm sure that she was like blaming. But to this day, zero evidence on the docket. The dog ate her freaking homework. We don't see any evidence of a so called orchestrated, untraceable smear campaign, astroturfing, none of that. What evidence she's gonna present? I have no idea. It's as if she doesn't understand that, amplifying positive stories about your client is absolutely normal PR. Hiring crisis PR is absolutely normal. When some Nepo baby actress decided to unfollow the director, to send the director of her movie to the basement in his own premiere, cut him out of editing to where like he didn't even see the movie, the final cut, until it premiered. Allegedly, but we all know that she took credit for all that. In the PGA letter, she's like, I did this, I did that, I did the editing, I did this. And Janetti and what's her name, Todd Black. Todd Black in his letter of support for her getting the PGA letter was in that letter he was like, yeah, I came on with the sole purpose of making sure that her vision, was captured. Paraphrasing here. Anyway, good luck with that, Blake Lively. And here she's saying like they acted with malice, oppression, and/or fraud. Therefore, Miss Nathan, Tag, Miss Abel, Mr. Wallace, and Street Relations are liable for punitive damages for the reprehensible conduct of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath in an amount necessary to punish them and to discourage future wrongful conduct. Proving malice on a legal standard, I mean, she can go to PR circuit and say whatever she wants. They did this with malice. That doesn't amount to like the legal standard for malice. That's gonna be really interesting to watch. If this even goes to trial, because today, like right about right now, they are meeting because Blake Lively uh, called for a meeting, in my opinion, because Wayfair has no incentive at this point to settle. Like, why would they? But they met to talk about the defendant's updated settlement status. We'll see what that means. About this, basically, Lyman said that the California Supreme Court held that individual and individuals such as supervisors cannot be held directly liable for discrimination under FIHA. So basically, they acted as minions. Melissa Nathan and Abel were dismissed without prejudice, but Tag's still on the hook. That's going to the jury. We'll have to discuss the ninth cause of action separately, I just realized, because I want to go ahead and read the 17 points to you again and compare that to the amended complaint and to Lyman's response. We're just going to have to separate that one. But yeah, it's a huge uphill battle. She better settle. It's in her best interest. All of this is just causing her further loss of reputation, and it's all self inflicted because this could have been a private complaint every step of the way. She could have gone through arbitration because there was no SH. The SH was what allowed her to bypass freaking arbitration. And then she could have had California investigate, could have had EOC investigate, but she declined. She could have the third party that Wayfair hired to investigate check out her claims, check out what happened. And no, she declined that too. She said, I don't want to. So face the music. You went to the freaking New York Times and you like spilled the beans, like bent all your dirty laundry. Well, here the freak we go. Freak around and find out in real time. Karma is here to collect at Blake Lively's store. In my opinion, allegedly.